Facebook ads are easily one of the most cost-effective forms of advertising available today, and the beauty of them is that you don't need a lot of money to get started, which is why in this episode I'm going to teach you exactly how to run Facebook ads on a budget and the 3 core campaigns you absolutely must have if you want to have success on the platform. Let's get to it. Hey there, my name is Adam Erhart, marketing strategist, and welcome to the Marketing Show. Alright, it's no secret that I absolutely love running Facebook ads. I've been running them pretty much since they came out, which is the better part of a decade now, and I've had great success both for myself and for all of my clients and students who have followed the strategies and the tips and tricks that I'm about to share with you here inside this episode. Facebook ads are easily one of my favorite forms of advertising and marketing available today. Not just because of the incredible targeting options that they have, or the fact that they've got one of the most robust advertising systems and one of the most sort of creative ways to showcase pictures and videos and texts and all that, but simply the fact that they're really accessible to both brand new beginners as well as those operating on a pretty tight budget. You see, unlike traditional advertising, whether we're talking about TV or magazines or radio or anything like that, where your investment is going to be in the thousands, if not tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, even millions for some TV spots. Well, unlike all of those, when we start talking about online media and specifically Facebook and Facebook ads, you can get started for as little as a few dollars a day and still get some pretty decent results depending on your offer and your market and your message and everything that we're going to be talking about here in this episode. That's why it's my goal here to eliminate the excuses and get you to start diving into the platform. It's still incredibly valuable even today, even with the saturation as it is, which just means that you've got more customers that you're able to sort of go out there and market to. And it just means that you're going to need to up your game if you want to get great results. And again, that's what this is about. So with all that said, let's dive right into tip number 1. Alright, tip number 1, and one of the key core campaigns that I want you to be running is some kind of split testing campaign. Now, if you're just getting started, you've never done any advertising on Facebook before, or maybe you've never done any kind of marketing or advertising before, this is a fantastic place to start. As well, if you've been marketing your business for any length of time, and maybe you want to launch a new product or a new service or a new offer, well, a split testing campaign is equally powerful and equally effective here. Oof, that's a mouthful. And the reason that it's equally effective for both brand new beginners and also seasoned veterans who are maybe launching new products or services is because what we're doing with a split testing campaign is essentially we're buying data. And that's really the way that I want you to look at your initial stages into Facebook ads. Not that you're wasting money, not that you're just throwing it away, because you're going to be strategic about it, like we're going to talk about in just a minute. So rather what you're doing is you're accumulating information and knowledge and insights into your market, into what kind of offers resonate with them. What are your most ideal target markets, and what kind of ads and what kind of messaging and all the copy that goes into it are really going to get you the best bang for your buck. And this is why split testing is such an incredibly part of a campaign, regardless again of if you're just getting started or if you have dozens and dozens of campaigns that you're running. You always want to be testing to find new variations and new images and new videos and new offers and new different titles and hooks and headlines that are really going to deliver the best results possible. Alright, so we can't talk about split testing and we can't talk about Facebook ads without talking about the direct marketing hierarchy. What this basically means is that when it comes to an ad, traditionally they're kind of split up into 3 different areas that are going to combine into the total effectiveness of your ad. So let me explain what that means. Basically, when you're running an ad, 40% of the effectiveness of your ad is going to come down to your market. So this is essentially the people that you're targeting and how well you know them and how well you're able to reach them and basically everything that goes into building that ideal customer avatar and that target market. So that's 40%. The next 40% is one that often gets overlooked, especially with new advertisers, and that is the offer that you're making in the ad itself. This is going to come probably as no surprise, and yet it needs to be said anyway. It's hard to sell something that nobody wants. I know, sounds obvious, yet you'd be amazed at how many ads I see that are pitching something or promoting something that just really doesn't sound like it's that irresistible, and therefore it's way too easy for people to just keep scrolling by their Facebook newsfeed, completely ignoring your ad. Now, this does not mean that your product isn't irresistible. It doesn't mean that your service isn't irresistible. And it doesn't mean that you're not running a really good business. It just means that how you're packaging it up, how you're sort of wrapping the marketing around it, and how you're presenting it to your ideal target market, well, that part is probably missing the mark. So you really want to make sure that you're doubling down on crafting a really irresistible and really relevant offer to your market. All right, and the last 20% of the effectiveness of your ad comes down to the copy and the creative. This is basically the words that you're going to use, the headline, the image, or the video. Basically all kind of the design aspects, and basically everything here is going to be a reflection of the market that you've chosen as well as the offer that you're making, so it all kind of works together. The beauty of Facebook ads and why you're able to start with a smaller budget is because a large chunk of this entire hierarchy, 40% of it, comes down to your market. And as long as you have a pretty good idea of who your target market is and who you're trying to serve, and a quick side note, if you don't know who that is, you really have no place advertising yet at all, because you want to work out all the kinks before you start throwing money at it. Because again, advertising is going to make a good offer and a good product sell faster, and a bad product or a bad offer fail faster. Anyway, back on track, essentially if you've got that market really dialed in, well, Facebook makes the targeting just so incredibly effective that that part is pretty much taken care of. So this just means that you've got to shift a little more time and energy and sort of mental resources into crafting that perfect offer and making sure that your copy and your creative and all the design aspects of your ad are on point. So how do you do all that? How do you make sure that it's on point and that you're putting the right message and the right offer and the right copy and creative in front of the right people? Well, that brings us all the way back to that split testing campaign. See, the beauty of this is that when you select a split testing campaign, you're going to be able to test multiple different elements of your ad to figure out which headline works best, which image works best, which video works best, which audience works best, and you can put it all together to really come out with a really high performing campaign. This is how I take what I call normal ads and turn them into super ads, by continually retesting and split testing and putting together new variations and new winners, and the process pretty much never ends. But the beauty here is you can start with just a few dollars, buy yourself some really good data, and then build on that moving forward. Now, two more final notes on split testing before we put this one to bed. The first of which is that when you're doing split testing, ideally you're testing just one element at a time, meaning you might put different images against each other, or you might test different headlines against each other, or you might test different audiences against the same ad. But the last thing you want to do here is just throw everything at it and sort of split test all sorts of different variables, because in the end of the day, you're not really going to get much data and you're not really going to be sure why something is performing better than the other because you tested everything at once. So again, it could be the image or the video or the headline or the offer or whatever, and you're pretty much left with nothing. So just test one thing at a time. The other step that I'd really like to highlight here, and this is a pretty good nugget here, so if you're brand new to split testing, this one's going to provide you a ton of value, and it essentially provides an insight into how I split test and how I structure my campaigns. And that is, if you have a really good understanding of who your target market is, you know who your audience is, well then the very first thing that I'm going to test is the ad copy and creative, basically what I'm saying and how I'm presenting it to my market. On the other hand, if you don't know who your audience is, you're better off spending a lot more time crafting that perfect offer and that perfect sort of ad copy, and then testing different audiences against it. Once you do this, you're able to sort of pinball back and forth and go from testing different creative to testing different audiences, and the process really never ends, and you're continually able to refine your offer and refine your copy and refine your audiences, and everything just continues to get better and better. All right, so now that you've got your split testing pretty much in the bag, it's time to move on to the second core campaign that you should be running, and the one you can run with even a low budget, and that is a lead gen campaign, or a campaign to help you generate more leads for your business. Basically building up your email list or your database that you're going to be able to market to later. All right, so how do you do this? Well, if you've got a very low budget, one of the best ways to do it, and this is something that didn't work that great a couple years ago, worked okay a few years before that when it first rolled out, and it might stop working again later, so you always want to keep your eye on it, but regardless, what's working well right now are lead form ads. And essentially what they are is they're a lead generating form that Facebook has and is native to the platform, so when someone clicks on it, they're able to enter their name and their email or their phone number or their address if that's the kind of information you want to collect, and they can do it right within Facebook so they don't have to leave the platform, and it really minimizes those barriers and all the friction points. Now, the flip side of this is because it eliminates a lot of barriers and friction points, you tend to get a lower quality lead because it's just that easy to click the button and submit your information. And this is why you often want to run them in conjunction or against a standard and pretty typical online marketing lead gen campaign, which is where you're going to take your ad, you're going to send it to an opt-in page or a landing page or basically a website that's going to collect their name and their email address, and then you're going to exchange some kind of value for that contact information, like a lead magnet being a PDF download, a cheat sheet, a guide, a blueprint, a video training, something like that. Now, the reason you want to be running a lead generating campaign here kind of goes without saying. After all, if you've got a business or a service, you're going to need leads to kind of turn into customers later. But the other thing is, especially with a limited budget, it may not be cost effective to try to go straight for the sale because it's going to cost you a lot more to get a sale than it's going to cost you to get a lead. So by going for a lead gen campaign first, it's going to allow you to sort of build up your leads and build up your contacts without having to spend all the money that it might cost you later to generate a sale. Plus, once you get the leads into your email marketing database and into your retargeting database, which again, we're going to talk about in just a minute, well, now you've got them and you're able to go out there and follow up with them through email and through retargeting ads and basically continue to stay top of mind, increase those touch points, and basically stay so that you're the main one they think of when they're finally ready to make that purchase. So on that note, seeing as we're pretty much diving into it anyways, let's move on to the third core kind of campaign that you want to be running, which is a retargeting campaign. A retargeting campaign is a Facebook ad campaign where you're going to be marketing to warm traffic or a warm audience, which means people that already know you, they probably already like you, hopefully they already trust you, but regardless, they're already familiar with who you are, opposed to cold traffic, which are people who have no idea who you are and they've never heard of you before. Now, the reason a retargeting campaign is such a budget-friendly campaign to be running is really quite simple. First of all, you're going to be marketing to a much smaller group of people, which means you don't need to spend all the money trying to reach all the people. The second thing is that they should be already partially introduced and partially warmed up to you and to your business, so they're going to need less convincing in order to take the next step. So again, this makes converting them that much easier and that much less expensive. As for the benefits of retargeting, I really can't say enough here. I mean, it's just such an incredibly powerful feature because as human beings, we've been conditioned to associate frequency with trust. So if you're able to show up again and again and again in front of your customers for pennies on the dollar that traditional advertising costs, your business can grow very quickly for very inexpensive. So how do you do retargeting? Well, there's two main ways that you can go about this. Number one is you can take the Facebook pixel, which is free from Facebook, and install it on your website. And that way, anytime someone visits your landing page or your website in general, you're able to build an audience of those people and then show them ads on Facebook, again, for pennies on the dollar. The other way is you can just leverage the tools that Facebook already has for you and build audiences of people who have engaged with your content right there in Facebook. Meaning you can build an audience of people who like your page or engage with your posts or click on your ads or watch your videos or whatever it is, and you can build those audiences right in Facebook and then remarket to them, again, all right in Facebook. Makes things incredibly easy and really quick to get started. All right, so now that you know the three core campaigns, the next thing you're gonna wanna do is check out the video I have linked up right here on even more Facebook ads tips and tricks. So make sure to check that out now, and I'll see you in the next episode. When you're creating your Facebook ads, you want to do everything in your power to increase the engagement on that ad. Now, obviously we talked about the social proof aspect of the ad, increasing